episode of Made in Mexico. I am joined by Luis from Repstronics and Ramon from Koh Young. Before we get into some questions on what's going on in the Mexican market, perhaps I can ask you both to briefly introduce yourself and your company. I'm going to start with you, Luis, because I know Repstronics has just celebrated its 18th birthday, coming of age, I guess. Give me a quick introduction to both yourself and the company.
Yeah, thank you very much. Thank you very much, Philip. I really appreciate the invitation for Repstronics. It's going to be good to chat with you and Ramon. And very briefly, as you said, so Repstronics started in 2003. So we have 18 years in the industry. So we're a Mexican company. Nowadays, we have presence in Mexico and American area. To American area, including Central America and the north portion of South America, I mean, Ecuador, Colombia, etc. I started to be involved in the industry, mainly electronics, since 1994. So it's been like, I would say 20 years in this environment. And again, thank you very much. It's going to be good to chat with you.
Okay. And Ramon, everybody knows you, but just give me a quick intro to yourself and to Koh Young's activities in the region.
Thank you, Phil. Hello to everyone. Well, my name is Ramon Hernandez. I'm country manager for Koh Young. I'm in charge of sales for Mexico and South America. As Koh Young, we started in 2002. So we've been in the industry for a while. As you guys know, mostly with SPI, AOI, and some new products that we have in the market. So yeah, so far been enjoying a lot this
journey,
this trip in the journey in the electronic industry for Mexico.
Yeah, and it's interesting that Repstronics 18 years, you guys 19 years. It's been pretty much the big growth period, particularly down in Guadalajara, but throughout Mexico for the EMS industry. In that period, we've seen so many changes, so much maturity in the supply chain now and in the companies down there. Luis, how would you kind of portray the changes that have occurred in that 18 to 20 year period since the major EMS companies started to arrive in Mexico?
For sure, we have seen a lot of changes. So if we go back to the history, in the past, many companies moved to the Asia region. So nowadays, they are coming back for several reasons. So I think we feel really proud on the Mexican talent, because at the end, I'm pretty confident that most of the companies still see the potential that we have here in the country. So not only from the supply chain side, it's also including the manufacturing side, the design, so all the environment that putting all together, so it gave us a really good results in terms of technology, products, quality, reliability. So nowadays we know we have been facing a lot of issues. Everybody talk about the pandemic. Nowadays, the new fashion, the new trend is the issues related to logistics. So, and we all need, we all are, how to say, facing that topics in a different manner, right? I think it's a combination from us as suppliers, from customers, from manufacturers, from the people that is in front of the companies, mainly in the areas like planning, trying to put together all that topics, and at the end, we all have to defeat all these type of issues, right? So as suppliers, for sure, we always try to support our customers, providing on time, real-time responses or real commitments, I mean, trying to expedite whatever we can do, trying to help them in terms of planning as much as possible. For sure, customers having the same situation, not all the time can plan. So, and that's the point where we can add some value, and we feel really proud on all that projects that we have been able to support them and help them to be successful. So that's part of the things that I think we can contribute with them, and it's really good to see when they are successful because of some help we can provide them.
Yeah, no, I think it's really important, and you see that changing in Mexico. Ramon, when we look at Mexico over the last that last 20-year period, it's really gone from being initially a low-cost environment, very much managed outside the country, to having its own ecosystem, having its own talent and staff, and really stepping up in terms of quality. There's been quite a shift, hasn't there, in how high-tech Mexico has become in the last 20 years, but particularly in the last 5 or 10 years, I think.
Yes, that's, I think as Mexican, we can feel very proud of that. And that's a combination between all the efforts from the government, all the global EMS that has been established in Mexico for sure, and the development of the talent in Mexico, as Liz was mentioning, in regards all aspects, engineering, infrastructure. So it's been quite a ride, I will say, a big learning curve. And as you mentioned, nowadays we can see a lot of the companies starting their proof of concepts, global evaluations, for example, and we are seeing a lot more customers coming to Mexico and a lot more global EMS. We can see recently a lot of EMS from China, for example, contract manufacturers for China are moving to Mexico to all these, USA, China policies that they have going on. But as well, most of the global companies, global EMS are located in Mexico. Maybe it can be Tijuana, Monterrey, Guadalajara. I mean, any area in Mexico is good.
Yeah, and it's interesting what you say, Ramon, and I wanted to ask you both about that. Do you think that that mix of ownership is changing? I'm curious about the increase in Asian ownership, which we're clearly seeing because people are moving from maybe a China only to a China +1 strategy, or a region for region strategy in terms of manufacturing. But also I'm curious, is there much in terms of development of domestically owned EMS as well? Is that growing as well as the international businesses? Ramon, perhaps you can start on that a little bit.
Yes, I think it's a mix. As I mentioned, all the situation between China and USA are bringing a lot of what we're calling reshoring to USA, near to USA, which could be Mexico or Canada, or nearshoring, which is similar, right? I think a lot of the suppliers, contract manufacturers in general, are trying to get closer to USA. And also USA is bringing a lot of the business that went to China back to near USA. And as I mentioned, it could be Mexico, it could be Canada. We are seeing that, for example, Costa Rica is growing now, which in the past, I mean, I could see Costa Rica as a vacation destination, right? And right now we're seeing a lot of business coming to Costa Rica. So that's a combination. And as you mentioned, I think the level in which Mexico is right now in regards technology and people and everything, that's a perfect combination for us, for Mexico, to to bring much more business into Mexico, which is at the end of the day good for everyone.
Yeah, I mean the Costa Rica thing is interesting, and I think everybody was surprised when Zollner built their first facility down there rather than in Mexico. What else do you see in the rest of Central and South America in terms of key growth regions? How is South America doing? That's always been a challenge.
Yes, it's been a challenge, and it depends on the country. For example, we're seeing in Costa Rica, we're seeing a lot of semicon business, medical business over there, mainly those segments, I will say. If we look to countries like Brazil, Argentina, a lot of the product and the production in those countries, Brazil and Argentina, are for their own market. I haven't seen, as far as I remember, a cellular company in Mexico, for example, for years. And that's something that it's pretty easy to find in Brazil or Argentina. Automotive is coming back. It came back, I will say, to Mexico, but also we're seeing that growing in Brazil, Argentina. Just talking about Argentina a little bit, they just expanded their free trade zone, which is in Tierra del Fuego, for another 3 years. So that is generating a lot of investment from the electronic companies over there. And Brazil has been pretty good for, I will say, the past couple of years, and this year has been good for Brazil. And for Mexico, it's just booming. The semicon, automotive, industrial, all these segments have been growing after the pandemic. I will say since end of Q3 last year, it's been like exponential, the growth and all the projects with the electronic vehicles as well. We're seeing a lot of that as well for Mexico.
Yeah, there's plenty going on. Luis, from your point of view, when you look at what's going on in the different industries, are you seeing particular industries having an impact? I know the return of automotive is really important to the center of Mexico, but which industries are you seeing driving demand for you?
We do see impact in most of the industries. For sure, the automotive industry has been the most impacted one, but for sure, all type of industries has suffered certain impact, right? So at the end, so this is for everybody. But if, for example, you try to buy a car nowadays, maybe you have to wait 2-3 months. So it's a kind of complex. And maybe it's the one that is most impacted, but in fact, we do see impact in all of them.
Yeah, I think every industry has been affected by the shortages, and perhaps it's more noticeable in the automotive industry, where $1-2 component can hold up a $50,000 car. So it's a crazy situation. Ramon, are you seeing the shortage of components having an impact on the investment strategy at your customers, or is it just putting them under pressure, but they're continuing to expand?
No, yes, for sure is impacting. Not all the customers, but we are seeing a little bit of delay. Thanks God, not a huge delay on orders due to component shortage. But yeah, we've seen some investment being delayed for Q1, Q2 next year due to the shortage of components. That's on the bad side of that, right? But also we are expecting when hopefully everything is back to normal, we will see another peak in investment. All this investment that has been delayed, let's say this quarter or even Q3, Q4, Q1 next year, that has been delayed. Hopefully, we will see a nice peak when the chip shortage that we're experiencing right now gets back to normal.
Yeah, when it gets a little bit more resolved. And Ramon, you've been busy releasing new product. The Neptune's been released throughout the Americas. What's the feedback on that been like in Mexico? Have people shown a lot of interest?
Yes, I think, you know, last year, a couple of years ago, we released the pin inspection machine. So in that system, we also saw a lot of interest, but mainly in automotive. For CCI inspection, again, as Koh Young, we're always trying to innovate, and we are seeing a lot of interest in this system for 3D inspection. But also, we are able to inspect all kind of chemicals, let's say, or fluids. We are seeing a lot of interest for standard conformal coating inspection. But also there's a huge interest on underfield inspection, different type of pouring inspections that we are able to do with the system. And as I mentioned, with the combination of the markets, electronic vehicles, automotive, which for some reason there's a lot of needs for conformal coating, underfield pouring inspections, or put all these chemicals in the PCBs. We are seeing a very nice traction with this system, and we are expecting. Actually, we got a very nice acceptance and growth with the system in Q3, Q4. And for next year, for sure, it will be much, much bigger.
Yeah. And, you know, one of the things that I look at when I see you expanding into other areas of inspection is the value of that data. The idea that you've got the SPI data, you've got the AOI data, you've got the conformal coding data. The more data you have, the more holistic approach you can have within the factory, and the more impact with K-Smart and with those kind of products. Is that something that's important to people, that they have all these different data sets and they're able to integrate them properly into their business?
Yes, for sure. Data is power, right? If you have good data, then you're able to make a lot of improvements in your process. We all hear this line, right? Garbage in, garbage out. So when you are really a measurement company, that's very important. But also, you know, Phil, the reputation of Koh Young in the highest standards for the quality of the systems, the support that we are able to provide as an organization globally, not only in Mexico, US, but globally, Europe, Asia. A lot of the customers that are looking into these new technologies, they say, you know, it's a good technology, but further than that, we are sure that we're going to get the same level of support, the first class, world class support with Koh Young. And as new products, it needs improvements, because we are getting customer needs, right? Customer, let's say, demands that they need for those systems. Their feedback is that, I know that you guys will do it, you guys will get there. And that's pretty good, right? When you see that trust that the customer put in your company, in the employees for the companies, that they say, yeah, I know that I'm gonna get excellent support from this guy or this guy. That's something that as Koh Young we can feel very proud of hearing that feedback from customers.
Yeah, no, I think that's huge, and you're absolutely right. There's a tendency for them to have high expectations from Koh Young, and for those expectations to be met, and that's something that the whole team there can be very proud of. Luis, from a point of view of Repstronics, obviously lots of demand for Koh Young's equipment, but also what else are people looking for? What else are people investing because they need greater capacity? Are they investing in technology, or is it a combination of both?
It is a combination of both, Philip, absolutely. However, I do really support that customers are looking for connectivity and communication, including as much as possible artificial intelligence, because at the end, technology is evolutioning, right? So every time, every day, so as soon as they can move into that into that fashion, into that step, so they are going to be more confident, because at the end we know there is a certain point in the manufacturing industry where the quality becomes or means reliability, and that's why everybody needs to be in a really high level of confidence in order to provide products of good quality, in order to prevent or to be aligned with the current demands, right? So everybody nowadays, or most of the companies, are looking to have everything integrated into, let's say, one single box that can control everything. Everybody needs to have that, and everybody, or most of the companies, have to have that, because nowadays it's a current need. So in most of the cases, it is not an option, it is a need. And that's why we are there, right? In order to support them, to provide the leading edge technology, in order to make things easier for them, right? Supporting them and make them successful.
Yeah, and Luis, what about the demand for automation? I read a really interesting piece from the Mexico GM for Season Group recently about the way you look at automation when you're building in a lower wage cost environment. Are you seeing much demand for line automation and processes that perhaps make you less dependent on the operator?
Yes, demand for automation is there, still there, and will continue to be there. But it is something similar. It's a kind of mix, because if we look at the companies, several companies need to have automation implemented. But unfortunately, not in all the cases that's possible, because several reasons, right? But it is not possible in all the cases. But many companies are able to do that. And for all those companies that we can automate, that it is possible because of the processes, because of the products, and because of the current needs, it's there. And for sure, it's pretty the same that we just mentioned, right? So we are there, we are trying to help them in order to identify all those areas where we can apply automation in order to jump into the next step, right? At the end, it helps for many things. Again, it helps to increase or to improve quality, to improve reliability, reducing headcount, optimizing resources, also for COVID situations, right? So keeping say distance and all that kind of things. There are several companies that are thinking now in getting automation in order to have their process running all the time, because they are aligned with the COVID COVID strategies, and not having all the people all the time in the same room or in the same floor space, and getting automation there so helps to continue producing, right? But again, unfortunately, that's not possible in all the cases. But for all that companies that are in that possibility, so we are there to support them.
Yeah, I think it makes sense. And I think that relationship between, machine and operator is a key part of what's going on in the industry right now. When I look in Asia and I look in Europe and the US, one of the major concerns beyond component shortage is talent shortage. Do you think there's enough graduates, enough talent coming out of education in Mexico to maintain the growth that it's in, or do you think talent will become an issue in Mexico as well?
To me, I would say yes. So for sure, I'm convinced. So there's enough talent here in Mexico, and it's beyond that because at the end, so there are many really, really good universities that are not centralized in only one or two cities. So if you look at the country, there are very good universities in many of the main cities spread through all the country, right? You will see universities in Ciudad Juárez, in Querétaro, Bajío, Tijuana, Monterrey, Guadalajara, Mexico City. And that's just the beginning, because at the end, if companies look for these talented people, just pull from the universities, and they put those people into their own programs that internally they have already established. So it has been proved that the talent is, how to say in English, make it in an exponential manner, right? So many companies has established into their internal plans, growth plan. Not all the time talent will be available, that's a fact, and that happens everywhere. But if you combine a good education with a really good growth plans or good plans, you are going to have really good results with people. For sure, the talent that we have in Mexico, it's really nice. And again, we feel really proud in that, because you can see wherever in the supply chain side, in the manufacturing side, whatever. But at the end, if we support this with these complementary strategies, so I think that's not an issue. Mexico has really talented and skilled people.
Yeah, I think that's really important. Ramon, are you seeing lots of skilled young graduates available in the market and available to you as Koh Young as you build out your team?
Yes, and for sure there's a lot of talented people, right? And as Luis mentioned, there's a lot of pretty good universities in Mexico, either private or public universities. And while Luis was explaining that part, I was thinking that we are also responsible as industry leaders to develop that talent, because a lot of the time we're looking for very talented people with a lot of qualifications, and we cannot find it, one, and second one, it's difficult to get it right away. But I think also we need to think about it and also be responsible in the, collaborate in this development for the people, because of course we all have been there, right? When we just came out from the university, wow, we had a lot of energy trying to find the best job, and a lot of times we were like turned down, right? Hey, you don't have enough experience or something. And I think now that we're in another stage of our career, we should be also responsible, to collaborate into that and just to develop people. Maybe hopefully all of them will stay in the company. Some of them will leave the company. But as long as everyone is doing the same, I think we won't suffer from lack of talent in Mexico.
Yeah, no, that's huge. And you make a very good point, Ramon. It's down to you as an industry to keep mentoring and keep promoting. And there are some great careers for people available in the electronic manufacturing space. So It's definitely an exciting industry to be in, particularly right now as we go through all these technology changes and all this evolution. Mexico had a pretty tough time with the pandemic, particularly at the beginning. You know, kind of the middle of last year, it was a really tough time with factory closures. Where do you feel you are at the moment? Are we sufficiently vaccinated that we're past the worst? I kind of sense in Europe and in the US we're seeing a bit of a late wave of cases that is causing some concern, probably more around trade shows and more around travel. But do you think you're past the worst? Perhaps you can answer that one first, Ramon.
I think so. I think so, Phil, because here in Mexico, with all this during the pandemic, it haven't finished, right? But during all this time, we had these lights, right? Red light, yellow, green one in the States. And nowadays, most of the states are in green, which is pretty nice. I was looking this week to the vaccination rate in Mexico, and we are around 48.5 or something like that from the population. And we've seen a lot of EMS, the big EMS, that are vaccinating their employees, but also they are allowing to vaccinate other companies in their campus. So they are doing a pretty nice joint effort with the government, and we can see people coming from Jabil to Flex and Sanmina and all these EMS. Just okay, if now the vaccination is in this campus, go there, right? Regardless if you are for this team or this other team. It was just to mention. It's been a pretty nice effort from everyone, you know,
Yeah.
and that's good to see in the industry.
Yeah, it's great to see everybody working together and collaborate. And you know, you are in a competitive industry, so but there is a desire to get things done for the common good. Luis, when the Repstronics guys are traveling around the country, is travel straightforward enough now in Mexico with respect to the vaccinated? And is it the same for you when you're traveling out to South America, Central America, and the US?
Yep, I think that's not a major issue now. So for sure there are some restrictions, but at the end, because of the level of vaccination that we have and the level of people that is that gets COVID, so it's lowering day over day. So it has been easier for everybody moving and to have interviews with a customer, visiting their plants, moving across the country or even to other countries, as you said. For sure, there are some basic restrictions or requirements. I mean, like some insurances, some paperwork that we have to present. But at the end, so it's much more easier than the previous year. So I think that issue is, how to say, it's not a big deal now, and it's a good opportunity to have everything that was pending, let's say in that manner, and be aligned with the current demands, right? So that's not an issue.
Yeah, that's good. So am I going to see both of you guys at Apex in San Diego in January?
Yes.
Yes, sir.
That's for sure, Phil. I think a lot of people is waiting for that and looking forward to that. We were having some meetings with Harold, you know, Harold the Pinger from KYE, and he was so happy, you know, to have back Productronica
next week.
Next week, he was. Everyone is looking forward, you know, to shake hands or something, just to say hello and being able to talk again face to face with people. I
Yeah.
think Apex, I am really hoping that we can get a very nice and successful Apex, coming people from everywhere, right? From all
Yeah.
the Americas.
Yeah, no, I think it's fascinating, and both Repstronics and Koh Young have done a great job through the pandemic of stepping up with these online tools and with providing webinars to keep people updated. But everybody wants to get back to a trade show. Everybody wants to touch and see the machine and and see their old friends face to face. So I think
Just have
that's
a beer with our old
yeah,
friends, even with
absolutely.
Aneta, catch up.
Absolutely. Yeah, I know.
Yes.
I know I'm looking forward to that. Last question before we wrap up. Just give me a feel for your optimism going forward in 2022 with respect to what's happening in Mexico and the opportunities that Mexico has as a result of the changes in globalization at the moment. Luis, perhaps you can go first on that. How do you feel about 2022 at the moment?
For sure, 2022 is going to be a really busy year. So that's a fact. So what we are seeing is we will continue seeing issues related to logistics and all the items related to that. But at the end, so there is a lot of work pending for everybody from our side as suppliers, for contract manufacturers, for designers, for everybody, right? So pandemic is getting in under control. So that is, I think that is not going to be a major issue, or at least that's what we hope. I think everybody hope that, but at the end, when we do look, it is going to be a really busy year. So hopefully we can have the opportunity to continue with our customers and providing solutions as always. And it is going to be really good to be part of their projects.
Yeah, and the first of the next 18 years as well, Luis. So continuation of that Repstronics journey. Ramon, you heard it from Luis. It's definitely going to be a good year next year. Are you optimistic about Mexico being able to seize the opportunities it has in the world market at the moment?
Yes, I think for sure it will be a pretty nice year. This year for Koh Young has been great. Every quarter has been a record quarter. And as you know, Koh Young, we are looking forward to continue that trend. Mm-hmm. And every quarter is a record quarter. But just being realistic, yes, we are seeing that this trend will continue. As I mentioned, some of the segments in the market for semicon, automotive, industrial, electronic vehicles, that we are seeing that a lot of that is coming to Americas and also to the market, right? We're seeing a lot more options, for example, for electronic vehicles. And of course, that is bringing a lot more business for our industry. I think we are in a time to create a pretty good strategies and continue doing the good job that we've been doing. We don't see any major changes in the market. In the other hand, we are expecting that this chip shortage, hopefully it will end soon. And also all these issues with the logistics, transportation will settle down. Of course, nothing lasts forever, right? So I think this should settle down at some point, hopefully early next year. But yes, we are pretty excited about next year. New products, as I mentioned, with the Neptune, which is, I think it will be a game changer, as it has been with the SPI and AOI in Koh Young. I think with this new technology also, we will be a game changer for conformal coating inspection and some other chemicals that I mentioned. And of course, Repstronics has been a pretty good partner for Koh Young. They're pretty strong. We are always working together with them. So with the demo rooms, equipments they have in their demo rooms, flexibility they have with their customers. and just working together as a team, I think we will be able to continue being successful. Not only next year, but the coming years as well.
Yeah, many years to come. Yeah, and you're absolutely right. It's that continuous innovation of new product, but having that backed up by not just the Koh Young ecosystem, which is, you know, renowned for the quality of service and support, but also what Repstronics can offer in Mexico as well. So it's a great combination. And from a country point of view, the opportunities are huge. As you say, the EV market is creating additional demand. There's clearly just generally more demand in the electronic manufacturing space, and more of it is moving to Mexico from other regions to support the huge demand in the Americas. So yeah, I think you're in a nice position, and long may it continue. Thanks so much for spending time with me today. It's been really fascinating to get caught up on what's going on in Mexico. I can't wait to get back over there, at least to San Diego, to see you guys, but back down to Guadalajara to a few of my favorite restaurants at some point would be lovely as well, and to get out with you guys. But in the meantime, thanks for your time today. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you.
Thank you.